Holler and a brewfist to you all, you wonderful people in the chat, letting me know how damn sexy you are before I start my wonderful Thursday show. Welcome to you all. I hope you've had a tremendous day. I hope you're now getting rid of the stress of today and you're now having a relaxing afternoon. That's awesome. We had a really busy day. We had all the guys online, which was fantastic. Besides Ghost. Poor Ghost has to work somewhere else. But we had all the guys online, so we've been doing a lot of multiplayer today, filming all sorts of crazy stuff. The final Gamescom video should be out later this evening, and then tomorrow we are back to some World of Warcraft action. How many of you did not hear yesterday when I said the Windwalker video will be on Friday? And they're like, where's the Windwalker video, Peach? Where's the video? You forget the video? You forget the video? Idiot, man. Forget the video. I didn't forget the video. The video was on my PC. But as I said yesterday, I don't want to spam you with content because I have videos piling up to release. Which is all good news. All good news. A very 50-50 mix yesterday on the Minecraft stuff. Interesting. It's not something I will be playing, but we'll probably leave it alone for a while anyways. Guild Wars 2 is coming out. We have some of the guys playing Guild Wars 2. Will we get to see some stuff from those guys? Hopefully. And there's also some other games, the new Arena season and the new patch, Mr. Pandaria coming, so we're probably going to leave it alone for a little while anyway. Maybe something else come up, like World of Blocks or whatever the fuck that game was we saw at Gamescom, which is exactly the same. Probably do that. Let's talk about yesterday's subjects. Oh, how deluded are some of you? How deluded. How very fantastical worlds you guys live in. Piracy. Piracy. I am a pirate. Yarr! A pirate across the 7 seas. Not stealing. I'm not stealing anything. It's not tangible. I loved the intangible argument. You can't steal something that's intangible. Well, actually, you can. I have no interest relatively as to why people pirate things. Everybody has their own reasons and justifications. One thing I do want to make you aware of is stealing. Yes, it is, unfortunately. Don't delude yourself into thinking it's not stealing. It's not. Yes, it is. Whatever your reasons and justifications are, that's cool. That's no problem at all. But I was interested to see that many of you were quite open and honest and said, you know, I pirate for this reason, I pirate for that reason. I have pirated in the past. I'll freely admit it. I did. When I was younger, I pirated on quite a regular basis. I never bought a game between the ages of like 13 and 16. In fact, the only games I remember buying back then, because they were so fucking good, were WrestleMania 2000 and, of course, No Mercy from the N64, the Nintendo 64. Those were the big games that I bought during that period because it was very, very difficult, if nigh on impossible. I never heard of anybody pirating games for the Nintendo 64 because they were cartridges. So I bought those games because they're fucking awesome. Me and Ghost and Boosa, who you guys haven't met, probably whiled away something about probably 2 or 3 years of our lives making characters on WrestleMania 2000. Fun story is me and Ghost, one drunken evening, spent hours creating our own dads. Because everybody's dad has some ridiculous characteristic. Everybody's dad has some sort of thing that they do that as a kid you find it really embarrassing. And then later in life you actually find it quite charming and endearing. My dad used to, although he was a portly fellow, used to spend many hours just in his underwear, or often naked, during the evening times when Ghost and me used to go out drinking and then come home to my parents' house while we were young stallions going around the clubs trying to cop off with anybody with a short skirt. He would often just trundle by as he went to the bathroom during the night, naked, dick swinging, didn't give a shit. Didn't give a shit whatsoever. So we spent most of our evening, one particular evening, creating our fathers. Ghost's dad is quite a sturdy, upright fellow who really sort of like, you know, looks like he used to do a bit of boxing or something back in the day and used to wear black silk underwear. And if he's watching, yeah, I'm dropping you in it. And one day at Ghost's home, I was sat on the couch in his front room watching some TV while Ghost was late, as normal, getting ready or something. And Ghost's dad came and sat right next to me, just took his pants off and was wearing black silk Y-fronts or briefs, cupping his junk, and just sat next to me because it was his house. He'll do whatever the fuck he wants. So he wanted to watch TV pantsless and did that. But Ghost Dad's classic attire was tracksuit bottoms and a plain white t-shirt. It was like an outfit. You know, like Eminem used to always wear the big white shirts and baggy pants. Ghost Dad used to wear some very fitted tracksuit bottoms, trainers, and a white t-shirt. So we created this inside the game in the edit the character. So Ghost Dad used to wear some like Ray-Ban sunglasses, a white t-shirt, tracksuit bottoms, and some trainers. And my dad just had underpants on. And we made them into a tag team and we would fight them and stuff like that. It was hilarious stuff. But yeah, I did used to pirate a lot of things back then. I don't pirate anymore, realistically. But look at some of these justifications. Look at these, yeah, the Bill Bossman we call him, the Bill Bossman. So look at some of these justifications. I liked this one in particular. It was comparing it to fuel. Like, where was it? Oh man, so many comments since I actually started the video. Oh, guys, commenting on my video. Like huge paragraphs of text too, which I thought was really cool. Where is it? Oh, has he deleted it? Have you deleted your comment, man? Oh, dude, don't delete your comment. Oh, here we go. If you steal from a gas station, they no longer have that item. They can no longer sell that item. And they must purchase more in order to sell it. If you pirate a song or a video game or a movie, you haven't stolen anything. You haven't hindered anyone else's ability to sell something. They still have the song, the movie, the game. They can still reproduce it in an infinite amount of times and continue to sell and sell. That's the kind of justification I would expect from Blizzard these days, such as should we remove a raid boss once a boss kills it. You haven't actually hindered anything because there's plenty more gas. Unless you stole all the gas in the universe, which is pretty hard to do, it's exactly the same thing. The actual material is the tangible part of it, unfortunately. So, you know, just because you can't hold it, it doesn't mean you haven't stolen it. You have stolen it, unfortunately. So, yeah, I don't mind why people pirate. Some people had some really interesting things about why they pirate. Some people said they want to test the game. Test the game. Like a demo of the whole game. I'm not sure I'm buying that one. I've downloaded the whole game and I'm going to play it, and if I like it I will then buy it after you've played it. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, I'm not judging you, but that sounds a little bit like Billy bullshit, doesn't it? That sounds a little bit like Billy bullshit. To test it. I'm testing the game. Some of the good reasons though, that's, you know, without justifying theft obviously, like Australia gets games way far away from when they're released across the world. Australia gets them in a ridiculous time period later, like almost a month sometimes, if not longer. And they're just not prepared to wait that long. Why the fuck should they? It's a digital game. Why is it just not released at the same time? It makes no sense to me either. I'm on board. I understand how frustrating that must be. It's a digital... It's just data. If I can Skype someone in Australia, they can play a game at the same time I play a game. There is no justifiable reason why games should not be released at the same time. If they want to be midnight releases to keep the stores interested, which is our dying breed anyway, right? We always go to a store to buy PC games these days, not. I can totally see why that would be a reason. For the chance of hating it, that's why we do have things like YouTube. It's why people like, well, not like me, I don't do new game reviews. I can't afford to. I can't afford to buy new games to do reviews on them for you guys. Yet. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to do that, but I can't do that now. I have a chance of hating it. There's usually plenty of info out there to try it. And isn't that the same risk we take with movies and stuff? I do agree on one thing, and it's something we spoke about a long time in the web show, was the game should tell you what the average playtime of that campaign is, of the single player game. And if it's multiplayer only, then you can accept it's multiplayer only. There's no risk there. If it's an FPS multiplayer, you've got a general idea of what the fuck it's going to be like. If it's an RTS multiplayer, you know what that's going to be like. There's no justification to say, I might hate it. You might do, but if you like RTS multiplayers, you're probably going to be okay with a new RTS multiplayer. It might not be as good as something like StarCraft 2, or the possible Command & Conquer Generals 2, but for taking the game, pirating it, I don't know about that. I will say that they should be telling us how long a campaign lasts. We bought a couple of games today because they were on special offer on Steam. So they were 4-player co-ops, and we wanted to do some footage for you guys of all the guys together. So we bought them today, and they were quite open and honest. They said this game has a 5-hour campaign. That's fine. Why don't games do that? I've played some games with a 1-hour campaign, 2 hours campaign for $60, or well, I think you guys in America pay like $80, something like that, or we pay £45 to £50 for a brand new AAA title. There's no justification for that. That does not add up in my mind. For a single player campaign, for my entertainment, that is a lot of money. That's like £25 an hour. Someone did compare it to the cinema, because cinemas are really expensive now too. Is we don't go to see a film. If we paid full price for a movie and it was 15 minutes long, there would be a fucking outcry. We would go mental. I'd be like whirlwinding like the Tasmanian devil through that place. I'd be fucking throwing my $10 popcorn in someone's face and smashing fucking toffee apples everywhere. Fuck that. If I went into a film and paid the full price, it was 15 minutes long, it was like, okay, here's the story, bye, finish. We wouldn't justify that. We expect certain things with movies. We expect them to be at least an hour and a half long in general and full of good content, not fluffed for an hour and a half. Games should do the same. There is no justification for releasing a game that has a 1 hour campaign and charging full price for it. That's just not fair. One thing we can say, and rightly so, and it's been big in the news recently, there isn't much gaming news today, but they are saying that microtransactions are the way to go. Because it then stops piracy, because the game is free. And people are prepared to not pirate, and in general cannot pirate, very minor upgrades to the game. So if they want to get things like a skin, they have to get it from there. It's very difficult to play an online microtransaction-based game while having pirated stuff, because the DRM prevents it. It just stops it happening completely. So most games in the future are going to be moving towards microtransactions, because in essence it just stops piracy without even trying, because the game's for free. Why would you pirate a free game? And then if you want to pay something towards it because you have tried it, which is the waviest excuse I've ever heard, that's fucking ropey as shit, then that makes total sense. But I was just, so many comments. We had like 8-9 pages of comments here acting about different piracies. I don't try not to make ridiculous examples, because that's where Blizzard fell down recently. They were trying to make crazy comparisons between situations that don't make any sense. Just don't delude yourselves. If you're pirating something, it's theft. You are stealing it. That's why it's called pirating. Do you think pirates debate whether or not they're stealing things? Do you think they do that? Do you think a pirate on a ship, you know, the modern day pirates with their AKs and they're raping everybody who goes past? Have you seen Rambo 4? That's some legit pirates right there. Do you think they debate whether or not what they're doing is theft? There's a reason it's called pirating. It's because it's theft, right? The name is the clue. Is the clue as to what you're doing. If you're a pirate, it's because pirates steal from people. That's what they do. That's why they're pirates. That's just the whole way of doing things. And I did like the one comment that says, jerking off to internet porn is not a waste of time. This is from the infamous troll, Daniel T. Smoke. I'm going to give him some credit, because this guy is such a fucking tryhard. It's unbelievable. It's Daniel T. Smoke. He might even be in the chat right now. He tends to tune into everything I do. He really tries to troll me, and it's really bad. It's so bad. I gave him the finger in a video. I didn't realize it was him at the time. He sent me this email saying how offended he was by my middle finger. This is for you, Daniel. I hope you're not too offended. Give me a break, man. I ain't falling for that. You fucking out of your mind, you freak. Let's move on. Question time. Like I said, it wasn't much discussion. Nobody else really discussed anything. It was all about pirating and going mental. I'm sure it will be tomorrow as well. Some people realise what it's doing. I like what it's got there. Don't delude yourself. If you're pirating, you're stealing. There's no other way of putting it. Okay, so we had some interesting questions actually come through today. One of them I actually found personally really interesting was, how do you push yourself as a tank? I love this stuff. I'm such a fucking nerd about tanking. Seriously, when I'm tanking, I love it. I love it. I want to take the least amount of damage possible while maintaining other things. That's how I foresee what I'm doing. Is this position perfect? Can I improve it in any way whatsoever? Now, hi there, Baller. Hello to you. DC birthday. Nice. Not to sound too arrogant, you do. You sound arrogant, you scumbag. But I'm a pretty decent player and outperform most of the people in the raids I'm in. I want to know how to challenge myself. I play 2 tanks, DK and a warrior, constantly try to challenge myself. He was looking for all sorts of other ways of pushing himself outside of raids. He said if I was a DPS, I would go on a test dummy. You wouldn't. Not now anyway, maybe in the next one. What can I do similar to make me a better tank? The answer is, if you really want to be a better player, it's actually in your first sentence. I want to know how to challenge myself. What was it? See, I've lost it already. I outperform most other people in the raids I'm in. There's your problem. Your first sentence is the answer to your question. If you're feeling like you're outperforming everybody around you in your raid, The only way a tank can really better himself is to move up to a different raid. That is how you're going to do it. There's no way you can go around and try and tank mobs in the open world or do anything like that. That's not going to help you in the least. 5-mans are a great way of doing it because every single situation is a new challenge. Every time you go in there, you're bound to be with Crazy Larry, right? Crazy Legs Larry, who's probably a hunter or some sort of obscene fire mage who just sees that pyroblast proc and his eyes start weeping and his brain is like boom, 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 and he just creates bad situations for you. And that's a good way to be a better tank, dealing with bad situations. That's when I really look to a good tank, is to see how they cope when things fall apart. What do you do as a player to make sure this situation is resolved? And then there's a brilliant sense of satisfaction when you actually resolve the situation and we get a kill. There's also those tanks who macro all the cooldowns together and they blow everything, and then for the next 5 seconds while shit's hitting the fan, they've AoE taunted, they've blown every cooldown, and they're cool for 5 seconds. Then all them cooldowns wear off and they just fall to the floor. That's not good situation reactions. That's not the way to do it. Ooh, we'll get onto that subject in a minute. Everybody's raging about something in the comments. Yeah, that was something that was on a YouTube video as well. You need to move to a better raid. I was in the same situation as you. I really was. I thought I was the king of the fucking hill as a tank. I really did. I thought I was the balls. I never had any trouble doing anything in my raids as the tank when I was in an earlier guild. I just had an easy time. And therefore I felt really good because everything I did worked really well. I could out-threat everybody easily. I was doing the positioning and stuff that I'd teach in the workshops. I was doing all that kind of stuff and feeling pretty fantastic about it. Then I moved to a better guild. And boy, did I feel like crap because I met somebody who outperformed me in every single way. And then I learned that there are millions of things that I am doing wrong that I can work towards. Now, I can't sit here and tell you the million of things you're doing wrong because I don't know how you play. I haven't played with you. It's all about reading and understanding things and just looking at other players. So if you really want to challenge yourself, I assume that you're not in a top world guild. I would assume that if you are, fair play to you, and then just work on your own goals. But if you're not, maybe it's time to move on. If you're feeling sort of comfortable, I never feel comfortable in a raid. I don't like that. Some people love that. Some people feel like feeling comfortable in work, comfortable in life. I don't like that. I don't want to be comfortable. Comfortable is boring as shit, and it means you come to a stop. If you want to get better, time to move on. Make yourself uncomfortable again. All good. Really good stuff. Now, the next question came in from a chap who I really wanted to help, actually. I'm not sure I actually can, but I want to. Oh, you were asking about the t-shirts and hoodies. We're speaking to our supplier. Couldn't use somebody normal. We have accounts with people like Cafe Press, all those kind of guys who are just like, hey, set up a shop store. We'll send you $5 every time someone buys a t-shirt. Yay! And they send the worst quality t-shirts in the fucking universe with like these horrifically painted on logos. We don't really want to use them if we can avoid it, but we're not in a position to get a big private supplier. But the guys who did this are a local British company. We're talking to them, or Emma is. Emma's in charge of this kind of stuff. Emma's talking to them as if we can set it up so you guys can get your own names or whatever the fuck you want printed on the back. You can have these good quality t-shirts. The shit is good quality. It doesn't fucking fall off or anything. We're trying to get them set up for you at the right price and international. So it's a little bit difficult, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Where's the guy? Oh man, I'm such a noob. I'm such a noob. I did not get this question ready. Oh man, why do I suck so much ass? I swear to God. It's about a guy who failed his trial. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I can't find it. I'm sure it was an email as well. Ah, there it is, found it. Yay! Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, yeah, ad blocker. People were saying that ad blocker is fine as well. I think one comment even said, before I jump into this question, I just wanted to make sure I found it. Ad blocker is Google's problem, not ours for using it. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. Although it's not theft, technically. All you do is you just prevent people like myself from doing what we do because we earn less. That's what ads do. Some people asking how it works. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not really allowed to. But essentially, if you do use things like ad blocker, you can convince yourself you're doing whatever you want. You can convince yourself that piracy is fine because other people do it, or whatever, I'm trying the game, or whatever you want to call it. I don't mind. It's not my business. I don't give a shit. But yeah, just be aware that is what you're doing. Whatever you're doing. Ad blocker is the same thing. That's how people like myself make revenue. People want to advertise on my channel because people watch it, and then they pay me in return. That's how it works. Okay, guild question. I've just been failed on my 3-week trial with a top world 100 guild. I'm not sure what to do. Just to run down what happened. The first week, I was nervous as shit and screwed up a few things. Never cool, but I wasn't terrible, but coming from a world 1000 guild to a 100 guild was a lot of pressure. Okay. Second week, my internet died and I couldn't raid at all. Third week, I actually didn't do too bad. I'm playing an unholy DK, by the way. I managed to get a few rankings on some boss fights, but I was told my DPS was too low. Despite coming from 6th to 9th in a 25-man raid, I was failed for that, and apparently my target switching damage wasn't great on Madness, despite target switching being fucking horrible for an unholy. It's a limitation of the class, not me. But anyway, I don't know what to do now. They're not going to kick me, but I'll be demoted to friends rank. We all know what friends rank means, right? Yeah, we all know. They have a PvP team. I could consider joining the PvP team. Sure, I could leave, but I'm stuck on the server. The guild is the best on the server, and I can't afford to transfer off the server either. Okay, this is a weird one. I'm sorry you already failed your trial. I mean, I wish I could have helped sooner. But I couldn't, obviously. I only received your email today. Sucks, dude. I'm sorry that you failed your trial in a good guild. That's really grim. And the fact that you can't transfer off the server, if you say you can't afford to do it now, fine, but you should be able to sort something out in the future, whether or not you're young and you're using somebody else's card or something like that. But there should be a way of accumulating the money to transfer in some fashion or another. Everybody can accumulate some sort of money who's old enough to play this game. So consider that there's a way to do it eventually. You don't need to move off immediately. There's no necessary movement to do that, especially with Mr. Pandaria coming. That's okay. First week, I was nervous as shit and screwed up a few things. Most guilds, especially a top 100 guild, are fine with that. Okay, they do not expect you to play like the dream in the first raid. Some people do. They tend to be really cocky, arrogant bastards who already believe they're the best players in the world. Anybody who is really serious about making an impression tends to make mistakes. Okay, that's the sort of counterbalance of it. Not to say that one is better than the other in terms of being in a top 100 guild where friendship and stuff is a non-issue. Okay, top 100 guilds aren't there to be BFFs. They're really not. They don't give a shit. Most people will not even talk to you, most top 100 guilds, and occasionally you'll get a few clicks of good people. There's always somebody really nice. There are always assholes. That's fine, that's fine and dandy. So the fact that you had some mistakes, unless they were really serious mistakes, then that's usually brushed off. The second week's where it really went downhill. And I know you're saying it's totally out of your control. A top 100 guild doesn't give a shit, and rightfully so. Okay? Having no internet is basically like you're not in the guild. As harsh as that sounds, that's the reality of the situation. They don't care. I don't care when people say, oh, my net's down. You basically just, I don't care what the reason is, you can no longer raid. And then they look at it from a progression point of view. This guy's been with us 2 weeks and his net's already down. That's not a good sign, is it? Because they can't have people with net issues in a possible progression raid. This is why I was very panicked in my method trial when my PC started crashing. Because I'm essentially useless. If I crash on a progression fight, that could be the difference between a kill and a wipe. It could be. They might wipe at 1% and I was offline as a DPSer for a certain amount of time where I could have made up that 1%. It's very important. So although he's totally out of your control, that's not an excuse. I know in your mind it's like, well, you can't kick me for that because it's not my fault the internet was off. The guild doesn't care. And rightfully so. It's not fair. Right? It's not fair. Life isn't fair. Sorry. It's not fair. So I know some people will be like, yeah, but his internet was out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The guild will just say, this guy has net problems. That's it. That's all that will be said. If you have a trial thread, like, has no internet, lol. You know, that's how it rolls. That's what it rocks and rolls. You've got to bear in mind, some people in the top 100 guilds are more than prepared to go and play from a fucking cafe in the middle of a city centre on the 386 PC with no microphone, just to make sure they attend the raid. It's not uncommon that people who are desperately seeking progression go to extreme lengths. Don't be under the assumption that if you move to a top 100 guild and they are deadly serious about their progression, that you won't get a text message while on holiday saying you need to raid tomorrow. A boss is up. I've seen it happen. It happened to some of my friends. Never happened to me because I plan my holidays correctly because I'm a boss, right? But people who go away when a boss is about to come up. I remember when Kill Jaden was released, people got text messages while they were on holiday to say you need to raid tomorrow because you are needed in this fight. And they did while on holiday. They went and found a net cafe and they raided. Having no internet and just sitting here saying I've got no net, guys. Sorry. It just doesn't cut it. Unfortunately, it doesn't cut it. Third week, I actually didn't do too bad. I'm playing on Unholy DK, by the way. I managed to get a few rankings on some fight. That's pretty cool. Getting some rankings these days with the amount of cheesing that's going on, that's not bad. But I was told my DPS was too low. That sounds to me like a bullshit excuse because of the other 2 weeks. Probably the net issue. Because you came 6th to 9th. It's pretty good. It's not bad. And I was failed for that. Sounds like a bullshit excuse. Remember we've said in the past, officers in guilds, they don't like confrontation. Your DPS is too low by. Something along those lines. This bit bothers me though, despite target switching being fucking horrible for Unholy. I've never had that problem. But he said Madness of Deathwing. Depending on where they're placing the corruptions, I guess. Could be. Well, I've never had it that much of a problem. I really haven't. You spread your diseases, your pestilence, they get more powerful because you pestilence the diseases, and you scourge striking the next target and you move Timmy to it. I've never had target switching be a huge problem for Unholy. Ever. I raided as Unholy throughout most of Cataclysm. I'm not being a big-headed noob here. I've never had that much problem. I can see it being a little bit difficult on Madness if they're placing corruptions in a weird place. But with some correct positioning and some twiddles, they're moving from the claw to the tentacle. Yeah, you're gonna have to refresh diseases, but that's not too bad. That's, you know, that's 2 global cooldowns. That's, other people are putting living bomb up and then scorching and all sorts of other crazy nonsense. Putting rend up. It's not that bad. It's not the end of the world. So I'm a bit wary about that sort of comment. I'm a bit worried about that sort of comment. Swapping Timmy over and stuff. That's not the end of the world. It really isn't. So maybe if they heard that, they weren't happy, because I wouldn't be happy with that answer. Target switching sucks for DK, for Unholy DK, for any DK. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't suck any worse than anybody else. Really, no, it doesn't. And plus, you get AMS to use loads in that fight. You get some nice buffs. Pretty good fight for DKs actually. Not too bad at all. A bit shitty on the spell weave maybe, but nothing major. But the main question is, what do you do now? I would save up and transfer the fuck off the server. That's what I would do. That's my advice to you. Save up some form. If you can't, you're stuck. There's not much I can do for you. If you can't afford to transfer at all, like ever, you're fucked, unfortunately. And I do try and tell you the truth. That's why I'm here, to tell you the truth. I think you're pretty fucked if you can't transfer off the server. You could do PvP, but you won't be happy. You'll probably quit the game. You could stick with them and maybe Miss of Pandaria, prove something to them in some 5-mans if you're desperate to stay on that server for whatever reason. There's some choices there, but if you get buried in the friends rank now, you're going to be lost forever, dude. I would try and save up and move on. I really would. And make sure you save those World of Logs of you getting 6th to 9th in DPS, because that's not bad. It's not bad, and that was, you can say, it's your first raid. But yeah, just be aware of saying certain things. Let's take some questions in these fucking heroes here. Look at all these guys. Look at all these sexy bastards in this chat. Let's hit me some questions. Let's get some questions. Let's get some questions. Questions. Look at you sexy guys. Look at you all arguing. That's funny. I did get will Traxxas Simulator 2013 gameplay be on your channel? No. No, it won't. It was too much for me then. It was too much for me then. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying the Gamescom videos. I really am. They've got like 100% thumbs up from you guys. Awesome. It was a little bit scary as to whether you guys have liked the way we presented it. There's one more to come up. We released another one today and one more to go, and then we're back to World of Warcraft footage for you guys. But yeah, we'd like to go. Can I do a belly dance? No. We're watching your videos if pressing the skip ad button as bad as ad blocker. No, not at all, because the advert's shown up. That's all that needs to happen. That's it. They really had the skip ads there because some adverts like 2 minutes long, man. Fucking crazy. I hate adverts. Don't get me wrong. I hate adverts. It's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. Hey, Peach, what do you think about class balancing situation in MOP so far? The tanking styles in MOP. Oh, I did want to bring this up, actually. I just saw recently on MMO Champion that they've really invested a lot of time into class balancing again. The classes that I was fully aware, I can bring that open pretty quick, had problems. Seem to be getting fixed. So we saw Death Knight's Frost got buffed. Oh, nerfed, actually? Yeah, the Frost Death Knights got nerfed. I'm not sure about that. Frost Death Knights weren't exactly overpowered. Hunter's nerfed again. Not surprising. Frost is looking really viable, actually, Mr. Pandaria. That was buffed again. Frost is actually looking really good. Combustion was nerfed. But Pyroblast was buffed, so a little bit of balancing there for them. But definitely saw Warriors were buffed. And so Rogues got some other balancing tweaks as well. So it looks like they're investing a lot of time right now into the balancing that I said would happen. I told you. Yeah. I fucking... Ooh, I told you this would happen. They would balance it just before. They do it. It's fine. They're aware of the numbers. All these guys are like, oh, Rogues suck, Warriors suck. They were going to balance it. And they're doing it now. It's fine. You're all good. Everybody's going to be about the same. I expect everybody to be rocking probably about 60k DPS. Maybe 65 in early tier gear. I think you're going to be around those numbers if you're playing well. But people were doing 80k. I said, you're doing too much damage. They're like, no, they're going to buff everybody else up to 80k. No, they're going to buff everybody to what's in the middle. So while Warriors were doing 55k and Hunters are doing 90k, we'll go right smack in the middle. That's the sweet spot that Blizzard's aims for. They've aimed for a number. Some people are doing more, some people are doing less. Not everybody at the top is going to be right, and all the people below are idiots. That's never going to be the fucking case. So everything looks good for the class balancing. The tank balancing looks kind of okay, except for some bosses. Some bosses are definitely benefiting other tanks, but hell, that's just the nature of the game, right? Everybody has some sort of buff to their system, so it's nothing to really worry about. Any other questions before we finish up for today? And what guild am I going to raid now? I have a couple of choices. I'm actually looking for a guild at the moment, which I think is best for me personally. That will allow me to join 1, maybe 2 raids a week, and allow me to go and see the fights to get the footage for you guys. I've got a weird moment where I wasn't actually that bothered. If I'm not going for a world first, that was why I joined Method. It was nothing to do with the channel, as you guys know. The earlier guys will know. I didn't join Method for any other reason than I wanted a world first. It was the only thing I was missing. So without that option in front of me, because I know now I cannot commit to what's needed for a world first and do some quality content for you guys, which is more important to me long term. It was for personal reasons that I decided to do it. And what I think is better for me now, as I've tested most of the bosses, if not all of them, on Heroic and killed essentially most of them on beta, is I'm not overly excited about the launch. As you guys know, I liked the first kill. I love the first kill. After that, it's farming. I couldn't give a shit about farming. I don't care. I don't care about gear or anything like that. So I'm actually looking for a guild and talking to a couple that will allow me to come along. Maybe once a week, twice a week. I'll fill in if necessary. If they're really short, you know, Preach, can you come along? Yeah, sure, could. It was relatively advanced and getting all that stuff so I can actually produce good quality content from you guys. I'm not interested in doing 5 days a week raiding at the moment. I just can't. I can't do it. I'm going to be doing so much stuff for you guys when Mr. Pandaria launches that in order to do it good, to get good quality stuff out to you, I need the time. And raiding 5 days a week isn't going to give me the time. Probably lose my balls too. It's just mmochampion.com. The workshop is coming, not this Saturday, next Saturday there'll be a workshop. Okay, let's talk milestones. Let's finish up on a nice subject, shall we? I kind of berated somebody who failed his trial. I'm really sorry you failed your trial, I genuinely am. I don't like to see people fail if they're genuinely trying. I think that sucks. Milestones. As you know, it's the 1 year anniversary in 5 days. We're also due to hit 20,000 subs in about 2 weeks, I believe, according to the stats. Let me check the stats. Yeah. Around about 2 weeks. And we also had the 400 videos. That's a lot of events to sort of do separate things for. I'm kind of thinking that I don't do a 1 year anniversary and just do something at 20,000 subs. I think that's more important. I think that is definitely more important to do. What do you guys think? I'm interested to know what you guys think. Yeah, Jackie's been here since day 1, which is cool. Yeah, what do you guys think of that? I can't do an event for everything. It's not going to work. But the thing is, if we get closer to 3 weeks, it's the Mr. Pandaria launch, where I also want to do an event. Should I mix them all together? Should I do a Mr. Pandaria launch, 20k subs, 1 year anniversary blowout? Just a big thing. Because I like things to be huge and spectacular and grandiose. I always have bigger ideas than what we can actually produce. One day maybe I'll be able to produce my ideas in full quality. Do the 20k subs, mix it up, do it big. Yeah, you got the big blowout bash. I did get some phone calls yesterday of guys. 72-hour stream. Thank you for wanting me to die. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Just sat here with like endless cans of Monster surrounding me and gummy bears and fucking Haribos. Yeah, I think we should do it at the Mr. Pandaria launch. I think that sounds about right. I think that'd be a good time to do it all together. So we'll talk about it with Ghost at the web show. Remember, the web show is on Saturday. And it's the big relaxing show tomorrow with a big story. I like to tell you a story on Fridays. And there's also the Windwalker video is coming tomorrow. So, awesome. Thank you for tuning in, guys. It's so good to see so many of you on an afternoon. Have a great day. Have a really good evening. I hope you do. Goodbye.